Hello. Remember last video I made this box for this jig. Now today, as I promised, I want to cover what's inside, which is the kitchen door hinge cutting jig. First we've got a jig plate, that's a harbour for it, and then we've got a Forstner bit, which is the size needed for these hinges. There is variations to that. Also we've got a collar, which is used for the stops, and some spare components. Just put this away for now, and then we need to look at what we've got. You see here these blocks that I put on here. I'll show you what they're for later. First let's look at assembly. The harbour has the Forstner bit in it, and the collar on we just tighten. You'll find the Allen key underneath the base there. Just tighten that, and that just basically stops the Forstner bit going in any deeper than necessary, so make sure that's reasonably tight. And then the harbour just goes onto this base, just sits on and twists, and it can't come off unless you twist it off. But as you can see there, it gives you a good stop, good depth of it. And then we'll put it into the drill. Now I did use it on a battery drill before, but I found batteries run out too quick with such a size bit. When you're doing a lot of hinges, then it's probably best if you've got one available, stick it in an electric drill. Okay, next we need a door. Right, now these bits, we've got two holes on there. They're stops designed for setting the size or the space of the hinge where it's going to go from the edge of the door. But for some reason, I don't know what the Chinese measurements are, but they don't work with ours. It turned out that the entire jig needed to be set, so I'll put these blocks on the edge and it puts us exactly perfect where we want to be. So if you're going to do standard cabinets, then put a screw block on the end of it, and you'll find it will position you perfect. Right, so the first thing we do is set it where we want it to be and just clamp it into place. Now there is slight adjustment from bringing it from the edge, then as you'll see on the little black things inside. I haven't illustrated this, but if you've got one in your hand you'll see it. It's quite straightforward. Then we just attach the harbour and away we go. Now when you're drilling this down, keep an even pressure. Make sure you keep it straight. If it gets any wobble on it, you can have some lean on the hinge, and that will mean part of the hinge is still protruding. So when you finish, just have a look and make sure that it is square to the door. Then onto the other end, using the other screw block, sets it nice and positioned for it. Clamp that one into place, and then again with the harbour, just attach it in. It's reasonably quick. Even pressure, as I say, keeping square. You don't want to burn it, so don't run it too fast. I like to run it on like that. It clears all the debris out. And then when you're finished, it's good to, before you test the hinge, clean out all the dirt from inside the hinge holes, and then we need some hinges. These are quite nice hinges that I've got here. They're soft close ones, prestige set, so you see a little bit of quality to it. And you can see it fits in there. Now with these, with all hinges, you got little screws there that need to go in, and the jig does actually provide pilot hole spaces for them and a drill bit for it as well, so you can do it. But really, no point. I don't see the point for it. At the end of the day, they are self-tapping screws that you get, and it's far easier to just pop them in with a power driver. I'm sure you'll all know exactly what I mean by that. When I find my drill. Right, well, let's have a close look at this and you'll see what I mean. No pilot hole, just gentle pressure, keep it steady, and in it goes. Very easy, and it's much quicker. And with pilot holes, it's just another chance of drilling straight through the door. And if it's good enough, then put your cover on, and here we go. Let's go into the kitchen and check it fits. Excuse me. Now when you putting it against the door, putting it against the cabinet rather, this is where it will show whether the hinge was sighted correctly in the right position. Before you even start this, if you get the jig and just put it against the cabinet and roughly look at the markings on it, you'll see whether the centre is in the centre of them holes, and that'll tell you. Now, when I first got the jig, I did do a couple of test pieces first, just to make sure everything was aligning up. You don't want to go wasting a very expensive door as a test piece. So I would recommend you just try it out with your cabinet. Remember, you only have to try it with one cabinet. All cabinets will be the same in the range. In actual fact, you know, I had many ranges in this kitchen of different companies, so it fit them all. Right, once it's attached, we've then just got the slight adjustment. First, you need to adjust the door gap between that and the carcass. If it's too tight, it's going to rub and it'll bounce at the hinge, at the door point, at the closed door point. So you just check that that's fully sitting flush, both top and bottom, and align it if it's not. It's just slight adjustment to make sure that you've got no bounce. There's still a little bit at the top there, and just another little tweak, and it should be fine. Yeah, that's good. Okay, now next thing we need to do is adjusting the gap around the door. If you look at adjacent doors, trims, whatever, you'll see the gap between the door and your profiles. That needs to look evenly to make the door look like it's fitted properly. This bit can be a little bit fiddly, but it's worth doing because it makes the job look nice and tidy. And that's just simply the other screw. You just wind it in or out to move the door up or down as you require. And as you can see, it does take a little bit of time, but like I say, it's worth it. And that's it. When it's finished, if they're good enough hinges, again, you'll have little cover plates to cover over the screw and make everything look nice and tidy. And a soft close, so it should just close itself like that. Perfect. Okay, right, well that's the kitchen door hinge cutting jig fully explained. Thanks for watching, and see you again next time. Bye for now.